There you go. Burrow, basically 350. Didn't put it in the end zone. And look, second straight week, Cincinnati's been kicking field goals and not scoring touchdowns. But they find a way, they win, they advance. They will either go to Buffalo or to Kansas City for the AFC Championship game. Let's get our guys in. There he is, two-time Super Bowl champ Brian McFadden. And there he is, Ryan Wilson, CBS Sports NFL Draft and NFL expert. I almost called you McPherson because that's the name, man. He got it done. He got the win. This kid, rookie kicker, they used a pick on him, fifth rounder, 4 for 4. Look, in the fourth quarter, Tennessee could have kicked a 52-yard field goal to take the lead. They decided to go for it on 4th and 1. Not enough trust in their kicker. Was that the difference today, or do you see a different difference in this game, B-Mac?
Yeah, no question. Just questionable decisions coming from Mike Vrabel. Remember the 2-point opportunity in the first half. Instead of settling for the extra point, you decide to go for 2. The decision, okay, cool. Most people would say I'm okay with that decision, but I'm not okay with the play call. You never pull a lineman on the goal line. That play was horrible. Didn't make any sense. You have a 250-plus running back that's going to come downhill. It does not make any sense in pulling an offensive lineman on the goal line. Then you talked about going for it on 4th down. Also, they just lost the battle in the trenches. That was a storyline the entire ball game for Tennessee. Offensive line-wise in the interior, they lost the battle. Cincinnati's defensive front played an outstanding ball game. Yes, they surrendered some yards on the ground game from Tennessee, but when it counted the most, they showed up and they showed out. And as you said, I don't like talking about Florida Gators too much. You know what? Let me keep it honest. I don't like talking about Gators at all. But McPherson, man, as a rookie in this moment, just being able to deliver like he did the entire ball game, clearly he gets the game ball.
Ryan, what do you make of sort of the end of the game and the interception that led to the field goal? Your impression of what happened in the last 30 seconds was what?
Ryan Tannehill is a huge problem, and each interception that he had 3 in the night was worse than the one that preceded it. The very first pass of the game, the one that after the huge run by Donta Foreman, then Mike Hilton picks it off, takes points off the board, and then that very last one, all you have to do is get a completion in the middle of the field. You have 30 seconds left to keep moving the ball, and Ryan Tannehill forces one in there. The ball's batted up in the air, and as often happens when the ball's in the air, you see the ball intercepted. Huge play by Logan Wilson, and there are questions about Ryan Tannehill. I mean, B-Mac talked about how well that Cincinnati defense played. That Tennessee defense had 9 sacks, as you mentioned. They were getting after it each and every snap, and they have nothing to show for it now because their quarterback couldn't get it done with their guy, Derrick Henry, back. Those are the questions they'll have to answer long into the offseason now.
All right, hang tight. We're going to get more on what you guys thought of the game. But here you go. 19-16. Cincinnati only has 1 touchdown, but they get 4 field goals, 4 for 4, 2 from beyond 50 from their rookie, Evan McPherson, 5th-round pick out of Florida. It's great to be a Florida Gator. It's great to be a Bengal. For the first time ever, they have won a road playoff game and do it, knocking out the regular season AFC champ, the number 1 seed Tennessee Titans. Let's bring in the great Trent Green, part of our CBS family. He called the game, did a terrific job. Trent, this was a close game with a lot of back and forth and, a little bit here, a little bit there. Ultimately, in your mind, what was the difference between these two teams today in this game?
Well, there was a couple things. First off, 3 interceptions by Ryan Tannehill. Yes, 2 of those were picked, 2 of those were tipped in the air before they were intercepted. The Titans were only 1 of 8 on 3rd down, and then the sacks. They were able to get after Joe Burrow, but they weren't necessarily able to take the points away and the turnovers away. Just 1 interception or 1 turnover total for the Cincinnati Bengals. So those were some of the big differences that stood out to me. The other one, Evan McPherson, you guys have talked about it here for the last couple of minutes. 4 for 4 for the rookie, 2 of them over 50 yards. Just a really good performance. This was just a back and forth battle throughout the entire. It's 9-6 at halftime, so you knew it was going to come down to the wire. Went to the fourth quarter, 16-16. It was just a heck of a football game that was a lot of fun to call.
There were 2 decisions that Mike Vrabel had to make. When the penalty put it on the 1 yard line for the extra point, he went for the 2. I was in favor of that, and it didn't work out. But I'll say I was hoping he was going to go for the 2. Then in the fourth quarter, 4th and 1, he could have kicked a 52-yard field goal. If that would be good, his team would take the lead. He decides to go for it. They get stuffed. At the time, what were you thinking? Did you have any problem with either of those decisions? Did you feel like those were the right decisions that just didn't happen to work out?
Well, I thought the first decision was fine. Anytime you get the penalty on the extra point, you're going to have a 1 yard line. You know, we've all heard about data analytics all season long. It's been going on, the conversation over and over again. So when you're getting 2 points from the 1 yard line, you would think the percentages say you're going to get that play. So I don't have a problem with that, especially early in the game. And especially considering Cincinnati only had 6 points at that time with 2 field goals. So you were tied with them at the time. So I didn't have a problem with that decision. When they went for it later in the game on 4th down, you have to remember on 3rd down, it was 3rd and less than a yard, and they ran a read option with Ryan Tannehill. They pulled the ball from Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill kept the ball. He ended up losing about half a yard, so that set up 4th and 1. Then they end up not getting it because they left an isolated Logan Wilson. Nobody touched him. They pulled the backside tight end, Izzo, for the kick out. They collapsed the line. They didn't have anybody accounted for the backside linebacker at the point of attack where Derrick Henry was going to go. So the play design and where exactly that was supposed to happen, I was saying to Ian, why not put in your jumbo personnel? They are the best goal-to-goal, first-and-goal team in the NFL. There is nobody better than them. On 3rd down, I understand you're trying to do some things, and yes, you had the Ryan Tannehill play. That is a play that they've done over and over again. On 4th down and 4th and 1, you go back to your goal line offense. Put in the extra bodies and try and make it work that way. That's the only difference. I didn't have a problem with them going for it on 4th down. You got to remember, they have Bullock as their kicker. They don't have McPherson as their kicker. Bullock had only made, I believe, only 1 kick over 50 yards all year, and so it wasn't as much of a gimme as you saw on the other sideline with McPherson. So I understand the aggressiveness. I don't have a problem with it. I just think with the jumbo personnel, that big offensive line, goal line type of personnel, that's more of what I would have done. But you know what? When it comes down to the final play of the game, how can you question anything that either of the coaches were doing? Both teams were in position to win. The Bengals just came up with more plays when they needed to.
Yeah, Logan Wilson with the interception, and as you mentioned on the stop in that 4th and 1, and I think you nailed it. Look, I think we like the decisions. We didn't necessarily like the packages, pulling an offensive lineman on the goal line and then not going jumbo on the 4th and 1 with Derrick Henry. Trent Green, excellent job as always. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, I appreciate it. Let's hope for the next 3 games to be just as exciting.
Yep, let's hope.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.